triggering change one heartbeat at a time. Battle for Freedom. Hello everyone, I'm your host Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 5 Radio, and I appreciate every last one of you as we get into another broadcast of Battle for Freedom on Mojo 5 Radio, where I'm going to be triggering change one heartbeat at a time. Listen, this is the idea that we have the freedom to say and do whatever it is that we want to do, but it seems like America is in a close down, a shutdown, or another lockdown, because a lot of people are just completely freaked out about the idea and the concept of free speech being available to you. Again, I'm one of your hosts, Watson Prunier, on Battle for Freedom on Mojo 5 Radio. Go to mojo50.com to support this amazing network as we get ready to talk about Closeminded for business, Twexit, and the woke, or it should be and the woke, but we'll share more on that in a second. If anything, I want you to do me a favor and continue supporting one of our sponsors, which is American Pride Roasters Coffee. This is it's historically great coffee, and the official coffee of Mojo 5 Radio. We appreciate every last one of you for going in there and supporting this amazing company. We really appreciate them. Continue to keep them lifted up in prayers as they're rebuilding after the devastation of a tornado that struck a few months back. And if you want to interact, you can go to facebook.com/Battle for Freedom. I see Heidi, Tim, Josh, and Jill, Curtis. Thank you for being part of the program as we get into this broadcast. Yes, and good morning. Hi, Kathy. Thank you all for being part of the program. So as we sit here and we just talk about this whole idea of close-minded for business and Twexit and woke, sometimes it should be and the woke. One of the things I want us to look at here is talking about being woke. There is New Life Holistic, and this is something that we all need when it comes to being healed in this day of consistent triggerification. I don't know what you've been going through, but I'm certain that you're tired of the useless systems you've been wasting on money for therapy. Contact New Life Holistics by going to newlifeholistics.com right now. Give them the code MOJO50 and save $50 on your first session. Biofeedback may be the one solution that can help you. Try New Life Holistics today. Try New Life Holistic today. Let them know Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you. You can't go wrong with this. And the reason why I share this is because when you share with them about New Life Holistic, everyone who's suffering the idea of being triggered, they will be able to overcome that frustration. They will be able to overcome being triggered constantly from the world. So right now, America is in a meltdown. And it's really sad because you see how people losing their mind. I want to bring that down a little bit too hot on me. One of the things that I thought was really interesting is just the idea that people are so triggered and they can't stay focused on what it is that they want to kind of talk about. It's the idea of being closed-minded with everybody losing their muffins, their cookies, or whatever it is because of Twexit. Well, I'm going to call you have Brexit, you have Mexit, you have Twexit, because the fact that, or Twixit, I don't know how you want to say it, with the number of people who are going to be leaving or fleeing Twitter because of the fact that Elon Musk is now the owner. Now, I'm trying to understand this thing. I'm trying to make better sense of this. And I think that many of us are probably thinking this is a huge celebration because of the fact that Twitter is privately owned by Elon Musk. Now, folks, it's very interesting that you see the level of malevolence and the level of triggerification because of the fact that Musk is the new owner of Twitter. And I'm trying to better understand what is the psychology behind a lot of the fear that's out there. And then one of the things that I thought was very interesting as we watch this, because again, we're supposed to be in this woke culture where everybody's completely accepting, everybody's completely accepting, everybody's moving in the direction of, you know what, everyone's view matters, and we should figure out a way for us all to get along. Going back to 1992 when the famous phrase from Rodney King, who was beaten by all those officers in LA, in Los Angeles, sparked riots and so much more. But as we sit here and we try to understand this, I had to look at a lot of the hate that's coming in. Like one of the ones that I saw is I saw it this morning that it was Jeff Bezos of Amazon, who is now saying that China is Tesla's second largest market, that they're buying Teslas left and right. I'm sitting here thinking, like, Jeff Bezos, you're complaining about Tesla being owned in China? I had to look at something here, and I was like, let me just do a Google on this and try and better understand. How much business from Amazon comes from China? It says, one article says it's 38%, but I see another article by No to China. In total, Marketplace reports that as of 2021, 46% of all sellers are based in China, and that number is growing rapidly. According to the Pulse in 2021, 75% of new sellers in Amazon top markets are from China. This is up from 47% in 2020 and 41% in 2019. So when everybody thought that Trump was Xi Jinping's best friend, that actually we didn't have as much business for Amazon in China. And then in 2021, it goes from 40%, almost doubles the number of new businesses that are in China, according to Amazon. But this is Bezos attacking Musk. And so I'm trying to make sense of this because of the fact that everyone is literally losing their mind. Who was the other group of individuals who were losing their mind? Because that's the reason why I have the picture of the individuals here who were screaming and, sorry we're closed. Because again, the reason why I say Twexit and the woke is because of the fact that we've been told, the diversity and inclusion. That we're having this idea and this concept of everybody's view matters. You can identify with whatever gender you want. You could love whoever you want. You could be whoever you want, except CEO that promotes free speech on a private company. It doesn't make sense. See, so right now the villains in society are Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and now Elon Musk. So you have to ask yourself, why is society so focused or so hell-bent on making us believe that these are the people that we should be fearful of the most? Elon says, twiggered. Now that is a good word. So that should trend. Thank you, Tim. That should trend on Facebook. Twiggered. I see Tim Ratliff. Thank you for joining. Jamie, thank you for joining. Lisa, this is very interesting. Thank you for joining. Jamie, is one of the half of the amazing program available to you on the weekends on Mojo 50 Radio. If you go to mojo50.com/schedule, you learn about Ain't You a Peach and a million other different programs available to you on this network. Actually, if you're listening in the afternoons before you can hear Battle for Freedom, you would probably hear Mike Phillip from American Nuck Radio. After, you would be able to hear, always after Battle for Freedom, you get a chance to hear the Daily Mojo and so much more. But you won't know that unless you go to Facebook.com, not Facebook.com, but mojo50.com/schedule, and you'll know exactly what's going on there. So as we sit here and we watch this, because here's one, I saw this, this one was really sad, as you saw this number of people who are losing their stuff. And which one is this? Yeah, here's the one I want. Woke actress Jamila Jamil claims she'll never tweet again after Elon Musk brought Twitter, as George Takei and Rob Joyner joined showbiz stars whining about Tycoon's $44 billion purchase. They vow to leave Twitter on Monday, after the takeover was taken, just successful. Employees have expressed concern about Musk's free speech plan, with the 50-year-old vowing to end Twitter's restriction on who can tweet and what they can say. Many people are freaking out right now because of the fact that they think that being free. Now, this is what I don't understand. If we're in a woke culture, if we are in a culture that's very inclusive, that we don't want to restrict what people can say. Like, again, hey, listen, if you want to identify as whatever, identify as whatever. But how is it that your freedom of thought and speech is okay to say this? I've never seen so many woke people wanting to be controlled by the state and restrict the freedom of speech and expression when their very life is the freedom of expression. How is it that you should be free to express who you feel you are internally as your gender or as your identification, but if someone wanted to express how they feel politically, that should be restricted? It is truly a conundrum. It is truly not a conundrum. It's an oxymoron. It's completely asinine. It is completely troubling, and it shows a psychological dysfunction in society when people can basically say, I want the freedom to express whoever I am, but you're not free to express who you are. You're closed-minded, but I'm not. I mean, literally, we are coming to a fulcrum where the idea and the concept being pushed by global companies, corporate America, and the U.S. government in the spirit of wokeness and in diversity and inclusion, that all views are acceptable except some. This is completely unsustainable. This mentality is truly unsustainable, and for the longest time, the very advocates, the very proponents of denouncing, demeaning, and deriding people who just had a Christian view, that they're closed-minded, are the very instruments they've been projecting for decades, and it can no longer be hidden. It can no longer be hidden how closed-minded the very open-minded people, or the quote-unquote open-minded people, are. We are literally at the edge of the cliff where it is time to fall off. They literally are emotionally falling off. Your company was bought, and now the idea of people being able to say something is completely frightening. Yes, Jamie Christopher, she says, the indoctrination has been going on for so long, and this generation is the most indoctrinated of them all. Very true. Hey, Carrie, thank you for joining. Yes, exactly. The indoctrination has been very troubling. The Twexit and the woke, but I think I really like Twiggered better. Twiggered! That is the subtitle. I've got it. It's too late for me to change it, but I just want Twiggered is so much better. Holy moly guacamole. But as you sit here and you look at the different individuals who are losing their mind, Musk urged critics to remain on the platform, but Joy-Ann Reid said he needs y'all to stay on here so his free speech people can harass you for fun. Wait, let me get this straight. Joy-Ann Reid, who sits there and harasses and mocks people on Twitter, on MSNBC, See, so they want you to keep watching MSNBC. They want you to keep watching their program so they can sit there and mock and harass you. But the idea and the concept of a social media giant doing the same exact thing that her own business is doing, this is where you see that the people who are truly close-minded for business. Close-minded for business. Jamie, you could thank Tim Wright for Twiggered because it is truly the best word. Folks, start. I'm gonna, on the break, I'm gonna open up Twitter and I'm gonna send a message to Elon Musk, and I encourage every last one of you to thank you for buying Twitter. It's so sad so many people are #Twiggered. And then you could put #triggered after that. But Twiggered is the word. Merriam-Webster Dictionary should have Twiggered as the word of the year because that is truly ingenious. Ooh, I gotta love that one, man. Dude, that is awesome. That is so sick and awesome. Thank you, Tim. Thank you so much. I'm trying to get my mind around this so I can better understand this, okay? So let's go into a couple of the different things. I saw this yesterday too, because there is this all hands on deck meeting of everybody losing their mind. Twitter are told in an emergency meeting that their jobs are only safe for 6 months until Musk completes his $44 billion takeover, as they demand to know if they will be forced to return to the office. Some Twitter staff have reacted to horror. Oh, the tragedy. Oh, the humanities. Thank you, Brenda, for joining and being part of the program. The company has frozen planned changes to the service until Friday amid what Bloomberg speculated was concern that a rogue employee could push something or mess with the product on a way out the door. In a message, Room's staff vented about their trepidation over work for the mercurial South African. Yeah, this is pretty cool. The South African, see, this is where black people should be happy. An African now owns Twitter. An African American owns Twitter. It's not the African American you're looking for. That's so sad. That's so sad. It's very interesting. Mark Zuckerberg is okay. Twitter was okay. No, wait. Facebook was okay when Zuckerberg owned it. Twitter was okay when, what was the guy before him? Jack Dorsey? Is that who it was? You have Jeff Bezos. I mean, all these white guys owning these big companies, it's perfectly fine, except when you give other. See, this is the fear of what's happening. Because I'll tell you, one of the things that troubles me in the idea and the concept of diversity inclusion in corporate America, and I've voiced this, I've said this many times, when do we start giving white people, white men, a voice in corporate America? Because if you do not give white men a voice in corporate America, your diversity and inclusion is wrong. If you cannot give white men a voice in corporate America in the guise of diversity and inclusion, we have black organizations, we have gay organizations, we have women empowerment, we have Asian empowerment, but we have zero white empowerment. It's not sustainable. And many people who have yielded and who have basically descended into lunacy, believing that we can have diversity and inclusion without white people, are literally the definition of insanity to its extreme. It is self-deprecating, self-defecating, and so many different things. It is very, very crazy. And this is the problem. This is the fear more than anything else. It is the idea that other people will get a voice and we start to truly be fair and balanced. That we will truly be equal in giving everybody equal voice. And it frightens people that other people would have the same level of voice and power. Literally, the very fear that the proponents of wokeness say that white America is afraid of is the very fear that is concerning them. They have projected for so long that white America is closed-minded to the idea of diversity and embracing different cultures and ideas and concepts. And it's very true. It is the very proponents, the very advocates of wokeness who are truly the ones who are afraid of diversity of opinion and being all embracing and encompassing. It's clear. It is not sustainable. Any business that has adopted the idea of diversity and inclusion is a business that has a cancer within and it's dying. It's not sustainable. You cannot sustain a workforce. You cannot sustain a work environment where whites have to kowtow and deny their existence in order to make other people feel well or better about themselves. That's the same exact thing and the same problem with churches. That churches that you actually, when you have white pastors demeaning whites and accusing them of racism that they never committed, I tell you that is a very unstable and insecure pastor who does not know Christ and does not know God, because if he truly knew God, he never would utter those words against God's creation. Because guess what? Whites are part of God's creation, just like blacks and Asians and Hispanics. It doesn't matter. But this idea that the closed-minded for business is what we're seeing in the age of wokeness. That has been the greatest drive and push to closed-mindedness that we've ever seen in our lives. Twexit and the woke are about to come to a standstill. The society will now crumble on the idea of this illogical and unsustainable doctrine from hell. Period. You cannot continue to push this idea, push this concept, and feel that companies will remain stable. I'm serious. If you want to color your hair, if you want to put whatever it is in your body, in your nose, in your eye, in your lip, it doesn't matter. I used to have an earring. I let mine close. When I started working in Manhattan, when I got my job in Manhattan, I realized that, you know what? I think I have to have a completely different look here. So I let my earlobe close, the earring hole close, or however you call it. But it closed. I started wearing the three-piece suit, the wingtip shoes, and dressed accordingly as was expected of me, working for an accounting firm in Manhattan. But you see that in the age of wokeness, everybody can do and be whatever you want, and fine, wear whatever makes you feel comfortable, okay? But to be closed-minded and say that a white person or a man doesn't have that right to feel equally represented, I don't care if they have a Dixie flag. I don't care. I don't even care if they have a Nazi flag. Free speech, freedom of expression is freedom of expression. So he calls me the N-word. I've been called worse by black people who call themselves Christians. And I'm not broken. I literally have been serving in church with black people who have called me worse than the N-word. And I'm fine. I'm not triggered. Well, I can't say that word online. Drop the TW and add the, whatever. I can't, but it has not stopped me from existing. You broken. Tim says I'm broken. No, see, here's the thing about it, Robert. Thank you for joining. He says, I hope that the tolerant left leaves all public and private platforms. No, I don't want that, actually. Because here's the problem. In the guise of them basically saying that they want the freedom of expression and everything else like that, I really think that what we should do is open up the platform for us to really communicate with one another. We really need to open up. We need to get a heartbeat and a pulse for people that are around us and people that are different than us. We need to learn how to talk to them, folks, because society is crumbling because of the closed-mindedness. Let's open our minds to communicate. communication. Can't change them. We still can treat them like humans, even if they don't want to treat us the same way. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom. Let's go to break, and I'll talk to you on the flip side. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. Romans 10:14 through 17. How then will they call on him who they have not believed? And how are they to believe in him of whom they have never heard? And how are they to hear without someone preaching? And how are they to preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the good news. But they have not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah says, Lord, who has believed what he has heard from us? So faith comes from hearing, and hearing through the word of Christ. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. I share these passages with you because of the fact that we know John 3:16. We probably barely hear Romans 10:14 through 17. And most doubtedly, we never hear 2 Corinthians 5:17. Life as a believer in Christ requires change. So to make a decision for Christ, we recognize that there is something wrong in our lives and we need to do different. We need to be better, but we can't be better on our own strength. So we hear the gospel message, moved by the Spirit of God, and we respond. I ask you now, if you've heard the message, please respond and live for his glory. Hello everyone, I'm your host Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 5 Radio, and I appreciate every last one of you as we get back into Battle for Freedom on Mojo 5 Radio. Appreciate every last one of you. So many amazing comments, and I never updated my thing. Oh my goodness, I need to fix this right now because of the fact that a new word has been created. It needs to be added to, and I forgot to go to Twitter to add Twiggered, but I hope many of you took a chance to go to Twitter and basically leave that term for people to see, because Twiggered is the new word of the day, Twiggered. And we're going to go from there. Let's see, a couple more comments. Wow. Robert Phillips says, I had a black assistant travel with me to Africa, Nigeria. The Africans treated him horribly. They made fun of him for 2 whole weeks we were there. I had to step in to stop the harassment the first day we were there. They were saying worse things than I have ever heard here in America. See, now think about this. Black people want to associate with Mother Africa. They walk around with the continent on their hats, their clothes, array of colors to symbolize their ownership and identity back in the very continent that rejects them. And I think I understand why many of them are so twiggered. Now I understand why it is that they are so lost in what they're doing, because they literally have no home. They have no identity. Many of them, I heard this argument a few years back, and I guess I never thought about it, but that many of them are angry because white people can go and look back at the the Statue of Liberty and go to Ellis Island and possibly find exactly where their family may come from. But blacks who were brought over here on ships and survived the turmoil of the transatlantic trade, they don't have that past that they can go far back. Here's the funny part about it. So my family is from Haiti, okay? poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And I know my mom, but I really don't know my grandparents. Haiti has suffered in a huge earthquake in 2010. And I don't know how far back Haitian history goes. Maybe 100 years at the most. I mean, you want to talk about a defunct system of figuring out where people come from. I don't know. So somehow, some way, I feel like my life has no existence because I can't tell you who my ancestors are? See, this is the reason why, for me, I'm not triggered. I'm actually okay because my identity in Christ is my true existence. This is the reason why I don't understand why there's this need to know exactly, get 23andMe, and I don't know where it doesn't matter where your ancestors came from because of the fact that this is not our final destination. This is the reason why being a citizen in heaven should literally be the thing that rings loudest from us, from our minds, our hearts, our souls, our spirits. That God, the creator of the universe, has redeemed us and given us an identity far greater than any identity or history that we can have in this world. But for some strange reason, it's not enough. That blacks must know where they came from. I'm saying if you are in Christ, you're a new creation. That is Bible. So why is that new identity of a new creation not significant enough, not powerful enough, not enough of something to celebrate that we have to go out of our way and support doctrines that minimalize, deride, and humiliate whites so that we can feel that we have importance? I'm sorry, just a few weeks ago, we celebrated the resurrection of Christ. That 3 days prior, he was on a cross and he said, "It is finished." He breathed his last and he sacrificed himself for us that we would not suffer. You want to talk about not having an identity? Imagine being in hell in a perpetual punishment and torture and pain that you don't care where you came from. You just want the pain to stop. But for some strange reason, not having an identity, not knowing my ancestors, you want to know where your ancestors come from? Where is it? I don't have it with me right now. Shame on me. I'm a bad Christian because I don't have my Bible next to me. Adam and Eve, Genesis 1:26. You get a bit better picture of the story in Genesis chapter 2. Adam and Eve in the garden. There is no better family tree than that. You want to know where it all began? Start with Adam and Eve. Oh, but, no. Being apoplectic, triggered because of the fact that we don't know who our ancestors are. I'm serious. It completely bemuses me, befuddles me, betwixt me, betriggered me. that there's this desire. Huh? What? Say what? I can't even do that. I need, my daughter brought me some water, but I probably need some tea so I can go all say what. High quality H2O. It truly is closed-minded for business, even for blacks, to sit here and support critical race theory, support wokeness, support white privilege, and all these other different things. When I'm saying anything, I'm like, if you're in Christ and you're a new creation, and it means that you cannot sit here and think more highly than yourself. Because again, for you to believe that you have the right to know where you came from, it's like you're thinking that you're more important than anybody else. Well, they know who they are. That's the assumption that you believe that whites believe that they're taking pride. There are some whites who take pride that they may be Highlanders, that they can go back to their Scottish rights and history. Who cares? Seriously. You're letting how people identify themselves get you triggered. That where their ancestry, where their roots come from, is triggering you. This is literally mind-numbing. It is mind-numbingly insane. Because I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, you have the best association, you have the best identity possible. Lord help us. Lord help them. But yeah, people are prepared. They're even pushing the idea of trying to unionize in Twitter before Musk takes over. I mean, literally, we heard trending for the longest time of people leaving Twitter, just like the people who are going to move to Canada. They never moved to Canada. They never moved to the other country. It's just sad. This is just so sad. They're going to unionize. But let's literally look. The move shifts control of the social media platform populated by millions of users to the world's richest man. The Tesla magnate vowed to protect free speech online, defeat the spam bots, and protect and authenticate all humans. He said he would enhance the product with new features and make algorithms open source to increase trust. He's promoting transparency. I mean, isn't that what the Obama administration, the most transparent administration? Yeah, if I was drinking water, I would have had it all over the screen, all over my microphone, and all my equipment. It's just really sad because the fact that what we see here as he tries to take over. Here's a little bit more. My wife was talking to me about this yesterday, and this is the one I really thought was very interesting. Chris Pratt is being attacked by Marvel fans because of the church he attends is not LGBTQ friendly. But when you interview him, when you ask him, is your church open to people coming in? Yeah, you're welcome. Come visit. But an open invitation doesn't mean that I have to say that what you're doing is fine. See, literally, it is closed-mindedness to basically say, not only do I want you to accept my view, you need to promote my view, and if you don't think like me, then you're evil. That is the definition of closed-minded. See, here with Christians, with those of us who actually are like, we're about pro-choice, that, hey, listen, if you want to get a jab, get a jab. We never condemned you if you got the jab. And you know what? I don't condemn you if you don't accept Christ. He's the one who will deal with it. I have no right to condemn you. But the Bible, God has the final say and the final word. And there's an eternal destination for those who reject God, who reject Christ. And you can be as woke as you want. You could go to the wokest church you want. But the idea of trying to cancel Chris Pratt because he does not yield to woke culture, or his church doesn't yield to woke culture, is truly another unsustainable concept and idea that we're facing here in society. How is it that we can allow for this to take place and not be free? I'll tell you, one of the ones that I think I know why. I think I know why. Because the fact that the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is really going to blow the lid off of this whole thing. Have you heard about what's going on with the thing that came on yesterday from Channel 4? Channel 4 dispatches shows metaverse users boasting that they are attracted to little girls aged between the age of 9 and 12, joking about rape and racism in virtual reality online. Metaverse is virtual spaces where users can game and communicate with others. Users can explore online world and interact in a number of virtual locations, but Channel 4's dispatches has revealed disturbing behavior by its users. It found sexually explicit, racist, and threatening content in the virtual reality world. And this comes after a similar probe found users exposed to abuse every 7 minutes. Huh. Very, very interesting. See, so as we sit here and we try and figure out what in the world is going on here, you see that these individuals here are, let's see if I could get you this thing here so you can see this thing here. That you see very inappropriate things in the metaverse. And I know some coworkers who have bought their kids the Oculuses. They don't want you to know the perversions that are going on in their open-minded business, quote unquote. See, we can't have free speech, because if we truly have free speech, then you can actually talk about the evil things that I've been doing here. You can now expose a whole lot more. See, this thing isn't so much about, it's not Twitter. Elon Musk taking over Twitter has nothing to do with Donald Trump coming back. No. It's the idea that the state-covered perversions will no longer be tolerated. It's the idea that a lot of the people will be exposed, no pun intended. So this idea that these perversions are going on in these environments, that you're putting these kids in these environments. Oh, we're revolutionary. I'm my kid's best friend. I'm going to put this stuff in their face, in their eyes. And you want, and who Jamie said earlier, we are the most indoctrinated culture ever. Yeah. And now these kids, minors, being, I knew this several years ago. When I had to warn my son about who he talked to in the gaming environments that he'd play in. When he'd play, what is that one with the blocks and everything like that? Minecraft. The predators were after them in the Xbox and Minecraft and all the other different things back then. And now we're putting these things right in front of their eyes so they can get further indoctrinated. Yep. We know that the threats are there, but to be woke, we're going to threaten the safety of our children in the guise of being woke. This is disgusting. Disgusting at its highest level. And I tell you, I'm not going to lie to you, it disgusts me. See, in many of the schools, they don't understand why it is that we're as restrictive as parents as we are, because we're trying to protect our kids. See, I think when you blow the hat off of what's going on in these environments, it really shows a whole lot more. Because I'll tell you, one of the ones that really disturbs me, and I think I was talking to Tim about this yesterday, is, or it could have been my wife. I lost track of who I was talking to about this, but right now, schools are being exposed for the depravity of what they're teaching kids. Schools are hiding a child's gender transition status from parents. Let me say this. If you're a teacher who supports that, I'm praying for your soul, because I would say it deserves to go in hell, but there are a lot of souls that deserve to go to hell. But if you are a teacher, you took the noble task to shape the minds to help kids grow intellectually and function in society, and you embrace the idea that a child's a parent doesn't have the right to know what their child is transitioning to, if you support the idea of unknowingly, of secretly taking a child to go get an abortion without their parents' consent, or even promote the idea of a child engaging in sexual behavior, a child engaging in things that the parents would not want you to be involved in, if you are in the education environment and you support that mentality, may the same wrath that falls upon those who reject God fall upon you. But I'm also praying for your salvation, that you would repent. You would walk away from that. No, your job isn't important enough. Your task is no longer noble if you're sitting there and supporting such devilish ideology. You are a devil if you support that. You're not a saint. I don't care how meager your salary is. I don't care how many years you've gone to school. If you support that level of indoctrination, may all wrath. I'm saying imprecatory prayer. I'm praying like David. May he break your jawbone and break every bone in your body until you come to your senses. Because you are no longer a shepherd of those children. You are no longer protecting them. You are violating their minds. You are violating their spirits. You are intellectually, psychologically, emotionally, and physically raping children if you buy the ideology that you can hide something with that child from their parents. You are a rapist and a sexual offender, and should never be allowed to be around children again. Clear. I'll put periods, exclamation points, whatever you want. If you believe in your wokeness that you could have a position over the lives of a child, an innocent child, and keep things from their parents because of your demonic activities, hell can't burn hot enough for you. And your chance to repent is now. Yes, I'm triggered. I'm triggered. I was trying to understand this. So I'm going to go into this particular page. I wanted to look and understand, what was this? This is at UNT Dallas College of Law. The limits of free speech on social networks. And I wanted to better understand this. What is going on here with respect to why is it free speech is under this thing here? Because I was wondering, what is it that can happen as a result of Twitter being taken over by a private company? Who can restrict, and it's not that paragraph I wanted to look at. It was this past, when free speech, when can free speech be restricted? Oh, no, actually, no. Let me go up. No. I want to go up to this thing here. Last sentence. However, this is under the state doctrine, First Amendment restricts. No, okay. In other words, a private person or company, such as, a private pump. Yes, this is the right one. That's right? No, the wrong way. Sorry, I apologize. Let's go here. In other words, a private person or private company, such as a social media company, cannot violate your constitutional free speech rights. Only the government can do so. That problematic in and of itself. That is, unless the private party attempting to restrict free speech qualifies for one of the three exceptions to the state action doctrine. First exception is that when an action to restrict speech by a private party involves a function that is traditionally and exclusively reserved for the state, which is known as the exclusive public function doctrine. This is limited to extreme situations where a private party has stood in the shoes of the state. For example, when a private company has been given control of a previously public sidewalk or park, it has been found that the private company is performing the municipal powers exclusively performed by the state. Courts have repeatedly refused efforts to characterize the provision of a news website or social media platform as a public function that was traditionally exclusively performed by the government. Now, the reason I say all that huge word salad, because of the fact that, again, think about this. In the last couple of years, because there's a reason why there's this fear of Twitter being private, because now free speech is enabled. Now we can expose things now. Because, like, think about this. Churches, because of their not-for-profit status, are restricted from speaking out against political figures. Though I've seen a lot of black churches allow Democrats to come in and speak in their pulpits. Oddly. And say whatever they want. With zero reprisal. And it's very sad. So what happens is Twitter and Facebook had been used by the government, we know this, by the Biden administration, by Democrats, to restrict speech. We see it with the big tech companies and what Google has restricted people to say for Canadian candidates. You can't say, no, you can't say this. We're not going to air your ads. We're not going to air your political stuff. Oh yeah, that data's true, but we'll do it after for crying out loud, the idea that Twitter and Facebook suppressed everything about the Hunter Biden's laptop because they knew the effects of what it would have before the election. How many people are now saying, if I had known about the Hunter Biden laptop, oh yeah, I never would have voted for, I would have never been part of the 81 million people who voted for Joe Biden. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, how did you not believe that the Hunter Biden thing was true? I mean, people just had to say Bush lied and people died, and you believe that? There was so much that had been said in your wokeness. I mean, you're so woke, you were asleep on one of the biggest stories in ever. Robert says, Twitter has become the public square. It is protected from litigation by Section 230 of the FCC regulations. If it moderates speech, it ceases to be a platform and has become a publisher, therefore no protection from lawsuits. Yeah. And yes, Jamie, the church has become a pulpit not of God, but of the world. Period. See, what's happening here right now is a lot of people are being exposed. A lot of people being exposed. A lot of businesses are being exposed. In the wake of wokeness, and I'm not talking about being awake. I'm talking about the waves and the residual effects as the boat travels through the water. There are waves and there are trickles that keep moving, keep dividing, and keep shaking the water. See, sooner or later that water has to come to a standstill. That means that the objects in the water also have to come to a standstill. And things are about to come to a screeching halt. Things are about to come to a screeching halt. God is about to intervene, not Twitter, not Elon Musk, but God of the universe, God of creation, God of the Bible, is about to interact and intervene in society and shut down a lot of programs. See, I believe that when we look here and we look at how state speech has been given and state powers have been given to social media platforms to hide truths, those are going away. And what the triggered from Twitter fear, not Donald Trump coming out, but everything coming out. I mean, what I just shared with you earlier about what's going on in the metaverse. You think they want that to come out? Oh, they've been hiding this. We can't hide our depravity. We can't hide our evil. We can't hide this. And I'm telling you that in the midst of everything going on now, a lot of people keep thinking that, oh, no one knows what's going on. Oh, no. Every, what is it? The Daily Mojo, if you go to mojo50.com/shop, there is a shirt you could buy saying, I need new conspiracy theories because all my other ones have come true. What do we have? Pizzagate? Come to find out, shortly later after, you have Jeffrey Epstein be exposed. No pun intended. Pizzagate, Epstein, Metaverse, Biden, and every last one of them who have been secretly hiding all the bodies. This is just the beginning. Again, I don't know much about Elon Musk, but I know everything about God. And he's about to bring to light all of our depravity. And we will truly be triggered. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio. Brad Stacks and Daily Mojo's up next. I'm out if I can get my words together.
This is the seditious, rabble-rousing, liberty-loving, home of fun, entertaining, and compelling talk. Mojo 50.